You ready today? See, we're not like the Democrats. We listen to our constituents. We have to listen. If you missed morning prayer this morning, got out of the mountain, how many was on the mountain with us? What a time we had in the Lord. That prayer was so powerful. My father-in-law preached to us out of the mountain. And today it's a little bit more relaxed, and I want to be honest with you, I'm looking for all my speakers. They're where they all are, so I'm going to I really tried. The truth is, truth needs to be told. That's really what needs to happen. So I can teach you about this great republic. Got a few people that I want to talk to introduce you this morning. Come on right here. I'll meet this beautiful young lady. Come on, brother. She's a member of Cody's Army, and I don't heard her say to her this young lady, she was with me in Michigan. We had our first rally in Michigan, and this young lady was there and told her story. And I'm going to let her take about 2 minutes, and I want you to hear why we're fighting for America. America is in bigger trouble than people realize. This is no longer about politics, folks. It's now about our children. It's no longer about politics. It's about our future. And this young lady is our future. And she decided to make a stand for her individual rights. And she's going to tell you what happened. Tell her name and then tell me what happened. Okay? I'm Maya, and so last year I had my English teacher. And we go down to the office and she had my American flag vest. And she had yellow flags and yellow vests in her classroom. And so she saw the video. A student in our class showed the video and failed that class later. It's all right. It'll be all right. This is what a patriot looks like. This is what an American hero looks like. Right here. I'm gonna tell you, that's got to say. Oh, okay, I got you. His sound. Yeah. So let's set it on the. Let's set it on the. Not involved in politics. I'm going to show you why. They were not involved in politics at all. And neither was I. I was just a Mississippi preacher.
Speaking of
I got you. I got you. Look at that.
This man emailed me several times, and you tell me
Yeah, I know.
what happened from our show. You tell them the result. If you don't hear it, that's all that.
Well, no, Friday. Other ones.
You know, I'm those guys.
I'm working on it. All right. All right.
Let's get our stuff set up. $1 million processes, bro. Yeah. Just give me the
He just got involved. And that's what all of us have got to do. Complaining does no good. Just dreaming does no good. There you are. You're so little. Come on, run up here real quick.
last year, that now has been involved in our kids at Head Start, so I was on their committee with them, until the state took it over because they just want to keep controlling everything. So I had always been involved since I did very little, but I never thought that it really made an impact. And so recently with, the current climate that we have, I've been joining, local Facebook groups, and so even though it's kind of the level, just use it for the platform that it is to help us. And somebody just added to a little message in the group, they said, hey, this is my daughter's first school. We have a school board meeting coming up, would you like to help speak at it? I'm not going to do everything is consumed, so I had to do it, on my phone, and it was awkward. But, and of course, it was over the mask. We were trying to unmask kids for the end of the school year. And much as we see all the other school board meetings, they try to sound to cut you off, like, say the subject, try to tell them that I am, because everything we're discussing affects our children, whether we're talking about the dance or whether we're on something else, they don't just stay focused. So the first meeting that I had there was a couple people that were online, and then they sent me a message going, wow, that was amazing, they wanted to ask me about your autograph. Meanwhile, I didn't realize that the gentleman that said that was one of my daughter's friend's fathers. So you never know who's listening to you, for one. So that was actually one meeting, and then I switched to the other school, and I joined another local Facebook group, and here we have a school meeting. Most of the time, they don't tell you this until that's really looking for when the meetings are coming up, so you have very, very little time to prepare. So that makes it difficult, especially when we're working. Patriots and we work, we're the ones paying the taxes. So I said, oh, okay, well, I have like 2 days to prepare for this meeting. What am I going to do? And of course, it was all on the mask. So there was the study that came out, I'm sure you're all aware of it now, where the parents from Florida took their children's masks to the lab to find out all the stuff that was on it. And then there's all these, all the bacteria and the pathogens and Legionnaires and, pneumonia and everything on them. So, I went to the school board meeting. They give us, I don't know if everybody is the same, 3 minutes to talk. Wow. So if you're familiar with Lee Dundas, I went Lee Dundas style. I compressed 7 minutes into 3. I spoke so fast that the school board asked me if I was, an auctioneer. So, and you're up there and your nerves are working and you're like, I don't even know how I'm speaking right now. So that was one meeting we had there. It was about the mask. And then, again, then we had a second meeting and then a third. So the last meeting that we just had, again, I had a day to prepare. I was laying in bed, my heart's pounding, I couldn't sleep. 3:30 in the morning, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get up. I just kept thinking in my head, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? And at 3:30 in the morning, I went into my notes on my phone and I just started writing stuff down. So a lot of times we don't know what we're going to talk about, but you got to do it from your heart and you want to convey the message that you want everybody to hear. So I didn't talk about the mass. I talked about everything that was going on in the world. And I just kind of started with talking basically about New World Order and George Soros and Bill Gates and everybody that linked together. And then I went into the mass and how it's making our children feel. I mean, it is taking away their identities. It's making them feel just, like they don't have a voice. They can't talk to anybody. They're not smiling at anybody. And it's really wearing on them. It's wearing on us as parents. We feel like we're fighting a battle that we're not going to win, but we have to stay the course.
Come on.
So with that, I mean, you have people watching you on TV, much like you're watching me here. The last meeting that I spoke at, somebody reached out to a friend of mine and said, oh, I just heard this girl talk at the school board meeting. I have to meet her. I want her to join our mission here in our township. So this gentleman actually has a machine where he can make brochures. And what he wants to do is he wants to put on there all of the bacteria and everything on the mask, all the studies where they can find the information and go out and hand these out to the children so the children can be empowered to fight back. So I owe a lot of being courageous to Shane, because without him and his platform, I wouldn't, know even where to start or how to speak out or anything, because, like everybody says, courage is contagious and you never know who's listening. You really don't. So, thank you.
I love you. How many loves her for fighting the school board, for her children, fighting for her children, fighting against liberalism, fighting against the left? Thank you.
And we have a lot of mama bears in the room. We need the papa bears to step up. You guys have the power too. You really do.
Any papa bears that's ready to fight for our children? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Wow. I'm ready to go fight something. Just fight. Hallelujah. This is why we do this every night, folks. I don't come in your homes because, just like Brother Locke said last night, because we have nothing else to do. God has called us to this mission. We didn't go looking for this. It came looking for us. And it found us. And every face here today and in the overflow room, and I felt so bad, I didn't go to the overflow room last night, so please forgive me. I'll go see y'all today. But every one of you here, Yahweh has divinely called you to these mountains above the clouds to come together and to encourage one another and to let one another know that you're not alone. And I want all of you to know something today. Some of the others may be dropping off the air. Some of the others may be giving up because their failed prophecies hadn't come to pass. Some may be going because they tried to milk you with false promises. But I'm going to be standing there with you when we re-inaugurate our president very soon. I'm not going anywhere, because I read the back of the book and I know how the story ends. I heard the word of the Lord and I know what 2 terms means. I know how to count to 2, and I've only counted to 1 so far. This is our promise and this is our hope. Because when we look at critical race theory, when we look at the things that are happening in our nation, we must go to battle. And here's what I want to do right now. I will be telling you about TAPS after our final speaker today. And we have some big surprises for you today. But right now, Chris Greer, come here. I need to whisper something in your ear real fast. I'm going to turn the mic off. Ladies and gentlemen, a few months ago, I was privileged to meet a man that has a heart of integrity and a man that loves our movement. A man that fights every day with millions of viewers to teach this conservative message. And this man is with us today, and if you've never heard him speak, you're in for a great treat right now. He is my soul brother. He is my brother from another mother. Would you put your hands together for Mr. John DeLemme? Come on, America. Come on, make John feel welcome. You know you love him. Come on. John DeLemme, God's hero, God's warrior, God's soldier. Love you, brother. Love you, brother. 20 minutes.
20 minutes. All right. All right. Wow. You guys excited? How many of you were at our workshop a few minutes ago? Was it awesome? Because I'm teaching how to preserve capitalism, and what the devil hates is success. You see, the Lord gave me this morning the scripture, John 10:10. And the scripture for John 10:10 says, what's the first word in it? Say it. Who came? No, say it. John 10:10. I have come. Who is I? Jesus has come to do what? Life and life what? And then the word abundantly means overflow, extreme, shocking success. So we have to really ask ourselves, and then it says the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Now in my workshop, I talked about capitalism. The number one capital in capitalism is it starts in our mind and our heart. In our mind, God gives you a dream. And in our faith, in our heart, God gives you faith to achieve that dream. And I challenge all of you today, and I did this in our workshop. And when this is, as a professor here, we have a workshop. How many of you left with notes in your hand today, correct? You know what the devil hates? Learning. Because inside the word learn is earn. The more you learn, the more you earn. And inside the word earn is the word ear. And inside the word dream is the word ear. And the more you dream, the more you learn, the more you earn, the more the devil fries in hell. Is that true? And I'm on standby. This was just a standby. I was speaking 20 minutes tomorrow, which is exciting, right? So when you look at this, you say to yourself, okay, I'm here. I made a decision. Look at that. Look how gorgeous that is. AOC, China, and Biden didn't create that. And just look how gorgeous that is. I mean, look at that. That's gorgeous, isn't it? All of you are here. You're special people. You're here for a reason. That's why it's so important for all of you that God came and gave you life and life more abundantly. And as in my workshop, I shared for all of you to write down what's your number one tithing goal. You guys got to write a number down. The devil hates a number. How many of you would believe if you became if this year, if you were a tither, if you gave $100,000 to your church, if you sowed $100,000 seed into Professor Toto and Mrs. Professor Toto, right? Do you believe that the devil would get upset? How many of you want to upset the devil? Well, you upset the devil by making a decision and realize eventually Goliath had to grab the slingshot. You see, praying is tremendous, but it's time for us Christians to step out in faith and take action. Because when we talk about your mind and your heart, you see, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about Facebook and Twitter. I'm one of the most banned, censored voices on the internet today. My main mentor from 30 years ago, you'll love this story. It was back in November, right after the election. He calls me. His name is Chuck. He says, John, there's a guy just like you. He's loud, out of his mind, smart, don't care what he says. He sounds different, but you guys would get along great. And I was literally going to the gym. He goes, look up Professor Toto. And I went on YouTube. I said, he's out of his mind, loud, don't care what he says. Plus, he loves the American flag tie. And we connected. That's a true story, right? There's my wife, Christy, right there. Christy, raise your hand. Christy's there, my wife. She sounds normal. She's from Tennessee. I was obviously born and raised in New York. And I say this to all of you because God's looking to line the warriors up to fight the great fight of faith. You see, in professor, the reason why people don't like the word professor, because a professor teaches over and over and over and over and over and over until you say, you know what, I got it. I'm going to step out in faith and do it. You see, that's the issue these days is Facebook and Twitter and all the social media becomes a distraction from our discipline to develop ourselves so we could achieve our goals and dreams in life. And the reason why we had 5,400 videos on YouTube, 2 million subscribers, and in my workshop, I showed the little, one of the videos I did on Twitter where there was 187,000 viewers, not views. There was 187,000 people live, and I was teaching my little niece, who's 11 years old from Tennessee, how to knock a guy out if he's an old guy sniffing your hair, kill him. That's just a fact. And you see, Because we have 3 gorgeous nieces from Tennessee. Gorgeous. Lexi, Allie, and Millie. They're gorgeous. Beautiful young ladies. God birthed them. I wrote a book 15 years ago titled Champions Are Born, Losers Are Made. Everyone is born a champion. Let me give you quick counseling. If you got screwed up parents, they had a sperm, they had an egg, you're born, get over it, you're awesome. Done. Done. Over. Just stop it. Stop praying about it. Just be the example. Step out. That's just the way you do it. It's just the way you do it. And I always say that if one of my nieces is very successful in gymnastics, and if she goes to a meet, some freak show with a wig on, identifies today as a transgender and a guy walks in a girl's bathroom with a wig on, can I go Italian in Alabama? He ain't coming out alive. Because it's time in America we stand for traditional values. We stand for pro-life. We stand for Judeo-Christian values. We stand for the flag. If you take a knee at my events for the flag, you will lose a kneecap. See, compliance is the way the enemy works. In my workshop, in my book, I talk about socialism manipulates your mind. A socialist is a seasoned hypnotist. You see, all of you that are chefs, you put seasoning on something, they season it to the perfect taste, and then they serve it. They've been doing this for 18 years in this country. All the mega wannabes, how many of you love Pastor Greg Locke? And you see, Pastor Greg Locke's message I listened to this morning when I was working out here in the gym, and he called out Pastor Robert Jeffries, another sold out mega church wannabe pastor talking about the vaccine, correct? If you've not heard the message, hear it. It's time we start to call out the sheep. So I call out the wolves in sheep's clothing, correct? So as I stand in front of you today, this is the first message of this weekend. We just finished our workshop. I want to encourage all of you to realize that, eventually David had to get the slingshot and go out and take Goliath out. And you see, you get to a point where you say enough is enough. How many of you are the enough is enough line? And stay there. Make sure you say enough is enough and leave this event and then take action. Because what the devil hates is an outward expression of faith. An outward expression of faith is you doing something. It's kind of like, the sword with Goliath. And I'll do with the stronger message tomorrow about this. I just want to give you a little appetizer on this. Is eventually, Goliath was 800 pounds. Goliath had 125 pounds of body armor. There was a young man carrying Goliath's sword. But eventually there was a guy back here called David, who was back here just hanging out here. And he said, we're kind of like Nash, hanging out back here, making us all look and sound good. Give Nash a round of applause. You're awesome, Nash. Thank you. And Nash said to himself, David said, I'm so sick and tired of this Goliath. It's 800 pounds. It's 40 days. I'm trying to hang out with my family, do the right thing. And eventually David came out, took a slingshot, dropped him. And his buddy next to him, the sword dropped. And this is where it gets real good. See, we're in the sword grabbing, neck slicing season. Okay? Because that's where we're at. I mean, come on. You got Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, AOC, Schumer, Harris. You got people wearing face diapers telling you to take a gene therapy from China, and some Christians going, we should pray about what to do. End it. End it. David picked up the sword that was his and went like this. Everyone go like this. Then he cut off Goliath's head. And he took it back and said, look, I'm tired of all the voter fraud. I'm tired of all the rhinos. I'm tired of all the billionaire demons. I'm sick of Bezos. I'm sick of Walmart. I'm sick of the blue money in the mega churches. It's over. It's time we Christians stand up and rise up and fight the great fight of faith. I mean, that's what it really is. So I'm calling all of you in this room here today. I know I got 20 minutes, and I was on standby, so I don't even know what time I'm at. I don't have my clock. Usually I have a clock. Anybody know where I'm at? Toto, you're the boss. So just give me like a 2-minute signal. Altar call, right? All right. Because, you know, it was exciting today, and we had some great people show up today at our workshop, correct? And I saw people move because capitalism is what they're after. Because socialism is no choice, there's no growth, there's no choice, there's no church. Socialism, now remember, this is what it is. All of you go, John, what's the difference of socialism versus communism? Socialism is the snake that gets in. Just wear a mask, it's no big deal. Just do the right. You wear the mask to church, which is like the worst demon sin ever. Cross your neck, mask in your face, you're a real fool. So that's the socialism is a snake. Communism is the bite. See that? So we have to end socialism by, and I'm calling out today, I want to create multi-millionaire tithers in the Christian community. Because communism, because right here, this is one of my quotes where it says, capitalism kills the deadly virus of communism. Communism is a commune where they all get together and brainwash people. And right now, we're in America, and I said, Toto, as you were outside, look at that out there. That is a miracle. God created that. So today at my workshop, and obviously we did this morning, and so many of you, I believe many of you were even more excited because you believe so much in the capital God gives. Just to recap real quick, the capital is your mind and your heart. God gives you a dream, then you have faith in your heart. That's an asset. All of you have grandkids and grandchildren. You transfer the assets to your grandchildren. God, our Father, wants to transfer the assets he has for you in your mind and your heart. Get together with Professor Toto. Get together with the army. Strategize and shut down. It's time to spit on Soros. Is that okay? All God's looking for those faithful warriors. Well, my friend, Professor Toto, guys, I'm going to be live. I'll be doing a workshop at 2 o'clock. And I'll be doing a workshop tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. also for my book, Making Communism Great Again. No. Making Capitalism Great Again. So, guys, with that said, my man, Professor Toto, thank you. You never know. I love you, brother. This man has got a heart, as I shared earlier. God connected us. One of my main mentors from 30 years ago said, you got to connect with the crazy guy who don't care what he says, who goes on for hours, goes off script like you, says you're going to say something, then comes back to an hour later. And he loves wearing an American flag tie. And we're together in Gutsville, Alabama. Look at a God's creation with great people. That's God Almighty. Thank you, my brother.
John Delemy, everybody. America's capitalist crusader. I love it. Thank you for what you do. You better love these men. You better love these fighters. They're fighting for you. They're fighting for your children. They're fighting for your grandchildren. I want to remind everybody, Wednesday morning, I'll be baptizing at least 100 or 200 of you down in the lake. We'll be having water baptism and the lake this Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. The water's going to be a little cool, so if you don't get the Holy Ghost one way, you'll get it the other way. So we'll be baptizing you all morning long, Wednesday morning. Remember, after today's session, we're going to end around 1:30, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, 7 o'clock, whatever it ends at, because we have guests lined up ready to come out here. After this session, go to your workshops, go to dinner, be back here tonight at 7 o'clock. There's a very special minister. You've never heard of him, but he's a powerful man of God. Is going to be preaching to us tonight. It's going to be a marvelous service. You do not want to miss it. Brother Jonathan, would you go over and handle this for me real quick? I want to show you of what happened in my home state of Louisiana. I was born and raised in Louisiana. Before I married Louisiana woman, Mississippi man, except it's backwards. I married a Mississippi woman. And got drug over to Mississippi, but I did it with bells on. And but Louisiana's my home. Something happened there, and I want to show you what happened. Brother EJ, if you'll bring, 1 second. I want to show you what happened in Baton Rouge. You're not going to believe it. It's going to blow your mind. This is how far we've gotten in America. And when I saw this video, I got so mad and so angry with a righteous indignation. And I'm going to show the video to you. This happened in my state. Roll the tape. Just hit the play button on the left. Go hit play.
You say him as a crap? Why is he bothering her? She's wearing a mask. Thank you for sharing the song. Thank you. Hey, y'all, everybody take your mask off. They can't take all of us out of here. Take it off right now. They just not take everybody out of here. Come on, don't be cowards. Run to your house. Come here. Don't have a mask on. Don't be a coward. Take your mask off. Man, look, I came here to ride for y'all. Look at you. I'm taking it. There we go. Take it off. They cannot take all of us out of here. Take your mask off. Hey, you. I'm coming. Don't put your hands on me. I'm going out back because I know y'all like the music. Hey, I'm fine.
None of the board members were wearing masks. None of the board members were wearing masks. None of them. They told this young lady, you put your mask on or you can't be in this where all citizens are welcome. She just said, no, you don't have your mask on. And they come out there and manhandled her like an animal. And that black lady stood up and defended her. She was the only woman that had the guts to defend this young lady. That young lady's name is Alana, and Alana is here. Come on, Alana. Would you show her patriot love right now? Would you thank her for standing up for your rights? Come on, patriots. Welcome, Alana. She fought for you, your children. Thank you for being here. They love you. They love you. And you tell them what you come to tell them. You take your time, and we're just glad you're here. You're our hero. All right? How many is glad she's here today? We got this, okay?
Well, hi guys, Professor Toto, thank you so much. You are a real man, and I appreciate you so much. Thanks for drawing attention to this. Well, can I just say that it's so nice to be in a room full of people who are not germaphobes. And it's so beautiful. I mean, Alabama is just so gorgeous. It's blowing my mind. It's the best kept secret. I'm gonna take my kids on vacation here. Well, I guess I want to share with you guys some details about what happened. So I consider myself a health freedom advocate. I've been trying to defend my kids for a few years now against, the public school system and all the mandates that they have with kids. And I have come to the conclusion after all this that there's something called the medical industrial complex, right? So they make you sick on purpose, and then they make gazillions of dollars when you're chronically sick. So they do this through vaccines, they do this through all sorts of toxins and pollutants, and they also do this by putting a mask on your face so that you're re-breathing your own CO2, your own bacteria, all that. So they want you to be chronically sick because they get so rich. And I'm not going to play that game. And so on August 4th, the Louisiana governor, John Bel Edwards, he reissued a mask mandate. bad idea. And I thought we were in the clear, but then he reissued these mask mandates. And so I had to go to Baton Rouge. It was a 2.5-hour drive from where I live, but to defend my kids, I felt like I needed to be there, and I needed to at least make the point, like, we know what you're up to. This is a scam, and you can't hide behind the lies anymore. So I went, and they had a mix of people with masks and without masks in the room. A lot of the people on the committee did not have masks, including the chairman. The chairman.
That's amazing.
And they invited a doctor that he was like the representative of the Louisiana Department of Health. His name was Dr. Cantor. And he had like 2 masks, and I'm sure he was vaccinated, because that's all he talks about is the importance of vaccinating everybody, the whole world. But there was a board member up there that he said, for the protection of poor dear Dr. Cantor, we need to have everybody in the room wear their mask, because the vaccinated, masked Dr. Cantor was so precious that he needed to be protected from all of us non-maskers. And so they got the security to go around the room and just systematically tell everybody to put their mask on. And I didn't, as you saw, and I wouldn't, as you saw. And so they did what they did.
Wow.
So Martina Brown is the woman in the video, and she stood up for me. And we've developed a friendship. I was hanging out with her on Friday, and I know that a lot of Toto's Army, a lot of you guys donated when we did the online interview with Professor Toto. A lot of you guys donated money just as a sign of support to us. And I want to let you know that we decided together, Martina and I, to hire a videographer to do a little short documentary so we can reclaim our power and reclaim our dignity.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. That money is going to go to a good cause. We're going to share the story. We're going to address some of the issues. She's going to tell her side of the story and some important points. And it's going to be a really beautiful video that I'm going to share with you guys, and hopefully you'll share then too. So thank you. There was a man sitting behind me at that altercation, and he reached out to me on Facebook, and he said, Alana, I want to let you know I was ashamed of myself for not standing up and doing anything that day. And I need to tell you that I'm never gonna be that way again. I will stand up from now on. And so this has been a woman's fight. The vaccine issue has been kind of like a mom's fight for a long time. And now that they're trying to get everybody, every adult out there, it's time for everybody to stand up. And we really need you men. We really need you men. And I feel the need to share a story about my son. I've got 3 kids, a 9, 7, and 5-year-old girl, boy, girl. And my little boy, when he was, on Facebook, I got, they give you your memories. And so last week I had a memory that popped up in the Facebook feed. And it was when my son was 3 years old. And he said, Mommy, if you're ever in danger, I will save you. That's sweet. Oh my gosh. And I remember when he was 6 months old, just crawling, I remember the scene where I got out the vacuum and I was about to vacuum, and my 2.5-year-old daughter, the vacuum was really loud, so she booked it to the back room. She wanted to get as far away from that loud vacuum as she could. But my 6-month-old son crawled towards the vacuum. He was crying. He was scared of it too, but he crawled towards the danger. 6 months old. So it's in you guys. It's just in you. Like, it's in men to just go towards danger and do something about it. And no matter how old, no matter how young, no matter how old you are, it's just in you. And we really need you guys now to get in the fight. And I'll tell you, there was a school board meeting for like the whole Louisiana State School Board that was maybe 4 or 5 days after this public health and wellness or welfare committee hearing. And that video did kind of go viral. You picked it up, and we did have more men at the school board meeting. I'll tell you, we had more men. So that was wonderful. I feel like I could go on and on about health freedom and the importance. I want to invite you guys. I'm going to be over at Kim's booth. I've been working on a project. It's a story collective, and it's called Health Freedom Stories. So healthfreedomstories.com. Okay. And anybody, if they've got a story like this or whatever, your small business was closed, a story of triumph, a story of tragedy, if this whole COVID nonsense has affected you in some way, I'm inviting you to go to Health Freedom Stories and publish it. We're going to do a book. We're going to help you get it out there. They need to hear our stories. So please go to Health Freedom Stories and submit something of your this. And I guess the last thing I want to say is we've seen this play out in history before. I'm half Polish. I'm a Polak. And if you study the history of socialism and communism in Europe, Poland is just right at the heart of it. And they used so many of the same tactics, like never mind the propaganda. They had propaganda galore. They invented propaganda during World War II, Germany, Soviet, Russia, and Poland. But they used germs specifically as a way to divide people, as a way to make you afraid of each other, because if they can keep you isolated, you're a lot easier to control. A lot easier to control. So don't repeat those mistakes. And I'll tell you, I was in a situation where I had to study psychological abuse for a certain amount of time to understand what had happened. But if you study psychological abuse, you see all the patterns repeating themselves here, but like on a macro scale. So they isolate you from friends and family. They tell you you're crazy when you ask reasonable questions. They make you poor and weak and dependent. It's a pandemic. So don't be fooled. Spread the word. And God bless you guys.
Awesome. Stay right there. Come on. Let her know how much you appreciate her doing a man's job. She did a man's job. She stood up against the whole system. I'm doing it now. You may not know this, Alana, but you see these people. This is about 1% of Toto's army across the nation. This group of people have given over $70,000 this year to other patriots that were in need. And I believe we sent you some of that, didn't we? You want to thank them for that?
I thank you from the bottom of my heart. We're going to put that money to good use, and it just was a blessing, just a total blessing. And Martina thanks you too.
And you said something on my show. Amen? You said something on my show, a statement that I just fell in love with. So why don't you tell them that statement and we'll go to the next thing.
I had said, I will not suffocate myself for a lie. This is my first t-shirt I've ever had in my life. I am so excited. Alana says, I won't suffocate myself for, this is so cool. It's so cool.
If you want her to sign your t-shirt, she'll be right outside, okay? After today's meeting. Thank you, Alana. God bless you. Thank you for everything, okay? Give her your love. Take your shirt. Thank you, Alana. Woo! That's good stuff. That's real good stuff. We thank God for true patriots that loves this nation and loves our rights and our freedom so much that we're willing to stand up for them. And that's why we're all here today. We refuse to buy the lie. We refuse to buy the lie. Tim Greer, can I get a head signal for information I'm needing? Where's Tim? I need to find out something from him before I go to my next event. All right, here's what we're going to do. Where's Jonathan Nash? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to explain something to all of you. The conservative movement did not start with us. The conservative movement is as old as conservative is. In our nation, you and I have just jumped on the bandwagon of fighting for this nation. But there are some men that have been fighting for this nation before we ever came to the party. And I was privileged to find out about one of the Democrats' greatest enemies. I didn't know this man existed. I didn't know he was still alive. I didn't know anything about this story. But I found out that about several years ago, there was a man in our nation who is the power behind, let's just put it this way. People go to this man to win elections and to get help to promote our cause. As a matter of fact, I believe last week, Donald Trump Jr. was in his office getting what we need for our president to try to, amen. He was in his office. Candace Owens was in his office a few weeks before that. And let me tell you what this man did for Candace Owens. He asked Candace, because we all believe Candace has a future in our party. And he asked Candace, how many of you love Candace Owens? Amen. He asked Candace Owens, what's next on your agenda? What do you want to do next? You know, do you want to run for president? We'll put you in there. What do you want to run for vice president? What do you want to do? And instead of all of that, let me tell you what Candace Owens told this man. She said, sir, she was sitting in his living room. She said, sir, I would like to take my people, the black people, my people, to Washington, D.C., and I would like for just to be my people. I would like to have a rally in front of the White House of all the black people in America that support our police, that do not want to defund the police. She said, that's what I want to do. This man asked her, how much is it going to cost? What are we looking at? And the number was astronomical. This man told her, he said, let's do it. This man wrote the check for every person that wanted to go, their airfare, their hotel, and probably their food, for the black people to appear in front of the White House for our police officers. This man did that. He is a true conservative. Now, I want to show you something. This man was fighting for us before we started fighting. Several years ago, Barack Obama said that the man in this video was one of the most dangerous men in America. He was the top 8 most dangerous conservatives in America because he finances our candidates. And I'm going to play a video real quickly of a book that was written about this man. And I want you to watch and listen to every word. Now, I tried to get this man to this event. I tried everything I could, but I want you to watch this video.
How the left is silencing free speech. The author, Kim Strassel, is a writer for the Wall Street Journal and serves on the editorial board. The book comes out today, and one entire chapter focuses on Melaleuca and its CEO, the attacks he endured from the press and the Obama administration.
Here's what we do know for sure. He put a target on my back and the agencies came after me.
It was a spring day in 2012 when Frank Vandersloot received some stunning news. President Obama's re-election campaign had created a website called Keeping GOP Honest, and there, 8 names of people Obama claimed were betting against America. The reason they were on the list is they had all made large donations to Mitt Romney's campaign, and the site slammed the donors. One of them, Frank Vandersloot.
And the media, the liberal media picked up on not only me, but other large donors. But they came after me with a vengeance.
The reaction for Vandersloot and his thriving company was devastating.
In one day, we lost hundreds of customers. The phone rang off the hook.
Vandersloot thought he may have made a mistake and went home discouraged. But the next morning, he was determined not to surrender.
On my mind was the Declaration of Independence. You know, what did those guys do? They risked a lot more than somebody's not going to come kill me over this. I'm sure that before they signed that, they agonized over it for days. Most of them were persecuted, were fought. The people who signed the Declaration, awful things happened to them. And yet they knew it was going to happen, and they signed it anyway. And I thought, I'm not going to take any hits like that. That's when I woke up and said, by golly, this is America.
In the midst of the madness, Kim Strassel, a Wall Street Journal writer and member of the editorial board, wrote a column called "The President Has a List." Any president who targets a private citizen for his politics is de facto engaged in government intimidation and threat, she said. He swore an oath to protect and defend a constitution that gives every American the right to partake in democracy, free of fear of government intimidation or disfavored treatment.
One man apparently did have a bullseye on his back and speaking out.
Within hours, the national media picked up on the story, and Vandersloot appeared on numerous news programs.
And the Obama campaign website began to hammer you.
The government was also taking notes.
3 weeks, my first IRS audit. A couple weeks after that, the second IRS audit. Then within a few weeks, 2 Department of Labor audits and then an FDA audit.
More and more people were learning about Vandersloot and the so-called enemies list. And once again, the phones at Melaleuca began to ring with a different response from callers.
Because of Kim Strassel, she started it. Everybody was calling and saying, who are you guys? What are you selling? We want to buy some.
The government found nothing wrong in their audits, and in the intimidation game, Strassel details attacks Vandersloot endured for months and years because he was on the president's list. But ultimately, the CEO claimed victory with Melaleuca flourishing.
Since then, our business has been booming. Melaleuca's having by far the best year we've ever had. This year has been up, up, up since that day, because Kim Strassel came out in the Wall Street Journal and said, this should not have happened. The first time the president ever did this.
Again, the intimidation game is on sale today. We have included links in the article below if you are interested in purchasing the book. I'm Nate Eaton for EastIdahoNews.com.
Amen. He said, I'm going to write a $100,000 check to conservatives every time they attack me. I talked to him on the phone. He told me how many of those checks he wrote for our people, our candidates. And let me tell you today, I asked that man to be here, and he wanted to be here. He wanted to be here, and he came. Would you make welcome Frank Vandersloot, one of America's greatest companies? Would you make him welcome? Mr. Frank Vandersloot from Idaho Falls, Idaho. Tell him thank you. Tell him thank you for the blessings. God bless you, Mr. Frank.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you, Pastor Toto. Well, it's an honor for me to be here with you today. I heard there were some Patriots meeting here in Alabama. I thought and when I was asked to come speak, I said, boy, if I can, I will. And everything turned out that I could be here and come speak to you. And I really feel honored that I could address you today. I've got a lot to talk about. You said I could have some time. Grab a pillow and a blanket. So well, As this video, I didn't know they were going to show the video that they just showed. So it kind of told a little bit of the story. I had never, been on national TV before, and it was kind of an opening the door for me. And now I've been on national TV so many times I can't even count. I was the financial co-chair for Mitt Romney about 8 years ago. Now, I'm not sure I agree with everything Mitt's been doing more recently, but at the time, he was the best choice. He'd been nominated, the GOP nominee to become the president of the United States, and he was running against a fellow by the name of Barack Obama. And I volunteered to be part of his army and was financial co-chair of his campaign. Now, there were 13 of us in the nation. I was responsible for the Northwest United States. And I'm proud to say that my Melaleuca Army, that's the name of my company, Melaleuca, we brought in $60 million for Mitt Romney's campaign, and that didn't get me into any trouble. What got me into trouble was I made a personal donation of $1 million to a PAC, Mitt Romney's PAC, and nothing happened until they, of course, printed it in the liberal newspaper. So when they came out with the list of all the donations in January of 2012, my name was somewhere close to the top of the list for Mr. Romney, and the news media, the liberal press came out with all kinds of trash on a lot of the donors, and I was one of them. They went on the attack. But nothing really. Fortunately, a lot of those liberal magazines, people don't even read. So nothing happened really until Barack Obama decided to do something that no other president had ever decided to do. He decided to single out some of his donors, and he singled out 8 of us and put them on a list and printed them and went public with these 8 guys. They named these 8 guys, I was number 8 on the list, as being against America because they're conservative. That's how they labeled us. Well, there are a lot of heroes in this country, a lot of them. You are all some of them. And the fact that if you stand up for something, I think that it has merit. Well, I learned some big lessons that day. And I was sitting in my office. And when this list, I didn't know about the list. And my director of customer service called me on the phone and said, boy, something's going on today, Frank. People are canceling from your company left and right. He said, they're just canceling. We don't normally, that's just, people don't cancel. If you're with Melaleuca, we've had our customers for, decades, some of them. They stay with us. They love our products. We have some awesome products and they stay with us. And this was a rare event. So it had never happened before. We said, what's going on? What's going on? Well, they said, well, something got printed today, well, they found out it was this list, Obama's list. But it was the most horrible business day I've ever had in my life. And by the end of the day, hundreds and hundreds of our customers had canceled. I'd met with my management team and I felt awful. I thought, I'm sorry I did this to my company. I'm sorry I did this to you. We'd been working for decades and building up. We had a great reputation. We run an honorable business and now we had all these customers that were canceling and I told them, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done this. That's what I told them. I went to bed that night feeling defeated, depressed. And I don't know what happened during the night. I don't know if I had a dream. I don't remember a dream, but I remember waking up the next morning and I know what was on my mind. Just I woke up like was startled. And again, I don't remember a dream, but I must have dreamt something. But I woke up with on my mind the signers of the Declaration of Independence. 56 men who signed their names to that document. And I thought, the next thing that I thought was, they probably the night before they signed that talked to their wives. They probably said, honey, I've read it. And it says we're going to be a free country. And they want me to sign this. And I have no doubt that their wife said, please, don't you dare sign that. They will come after you. They will find you. They will label you a traitor. They will hang you. They will burn our homes. And they signed it anyway. Thank heavens. And I woke up thinking of those men, thinking, what am I thinking? They risked their lives. I'm not risking my life. Okay, I might be risking my business, but I'm not risking my life. My life is not in danger. They're not going to come burn my home. And this is America. And if I don't stand up, who will stand up? See, I thought about the practice of public hangings, public executions. They've been doing this, countries have done this for centuries. They want to stop something from happening. They just take somebody, doesn't have to be guilty, and either hang him on a cross or put him in a cage and let him die from starvation, or behead them in public, or cut their arms off or their hands off. That's what they're doing in Afghanistan today. Publicly do it. And then people say, standing around watching all this, they say, what did he do? Well, he did such and such. He spoke out against the emperor. Well, crap, I'm not going to do that then. He doesn't even have to be guilty. Just say that he did it and suffer the consequences. And then everybody says, I'm not going to do that. And I realized that's what was happening. They had singled out donors to the campaign of the opponent of Barack Obama, and they're going to give them a public execution. And if I run and cower in front of everybody, it will show that it worked. So I said, I can't do that. And then that day, an article came out in the Wall Street Journal. I found out this later in the day. A lady by the name of Kim Strassel, she was a senior editor for the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal. She's still there, by the way, and she's still the senior editor. And she had wrote an article saying President Obama did something that no president's ever done before. He made a list. She called it his enemies list. And it was the hottest news story of the week. A lot of people were talking about it. I got phone calls from the press. Bill O'Reilly. I didn't really back then even know who Bill O'Reilly was. And Bill O'Reilly, his representative called me and said, would you be on the Bill O'Reilly show? And I said, well, what's that? And they told me, and then I said, oh yeah, I have heard of him. And so, yeah, I went to be on Fox News on the Bill O'Reilly show. And I took with me a check for $100,000. We talked about this. I said, you know what? Here's another $100,000 from all these stories that all these liberal press made about me, all these lies they're telling about me. And I just want to look in the eyes of the press right now and tell you, the next story you write about me, I'm going to give another $100,000. And the next story you write me, I'm going to get another $100,000. So he let me make that challenge on national TV. And then he said, what do you think is going to happen to you? They put a target on your back, Frank. What do you think is going to happen? I said, I don't know. But, you know, the president has a lot of weapons. He's got all these agencies. Yeah, he's got all these agencies. The FDA, the FTC, the EPA, all of these agencies report to him. Department of Labor, all of them. And I said, I don't know, maybe those guys are going to come after, I don't know. And I remember he said, oh, I think that's a little far-fetched, Frank. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. 2 weeks later, I got my first notice of the IRS audit. 2 weeks after that, I got a second notice from the IRS, the second audit from the IRS. 4 weeks after, 4.5 weeks after that, I got my first Department of Labor audit. And a few weeks after that, a second Department of Labor audit. And then within the 8th week, I got a notice of an FDA audit. So 5 federal audits in the first 8 weeks after the list was made. And when I started getting these notices of articles, I called up Kim Strassel. I didn't know her. I called her up because she'd done this article. And I said, I was one of these guys on this list, and here's what's happening to me. I was on the Bill O'Reilly show. And then she wrote another article about all the audits. And now the news really heated up because everybody wanted me on their show. Bill O'Reilly, Neil Cavuto, Greta Van Susteren, Megyn Kelly, and I said yes to every one of them. And I told my story that we were being under attack, and they wanted public executions for donors just because you made a contribution to Barack Obama's opponent. It was the top news story of the week. And I told people I was proud to be on that list, the enemies list. I was just upset that I was number 8. And then the phones rang off the hook again. And people were saying, who is Melaleuca? What are you selling? Thank you. We want to buy some. Whatever it is, we want some. And customers signed up by the thousands. It all got reversed. Amazing things when you stand up. Now, there's another part to the story. I had this great idea. The idea was, let's take this, this enemies list and let's make something out of it. So I decided I was going to call up the other 7 guys that were on the list. And I said, let's make a t-shirt. Let's have a t-shirt. We'll sell t-shirts to anybody who wants to donate, and they can all get on the enemies list. I am, you're number 1, you're number 2, I'm number 8, and we'll all get on the list, and we'll sell, and we'll put a number on everybody's t-shirt. When you donate, you say, I'm number 7,845. I'm on the list too. That was my idea. I thought it was a heck of a good idea. I got permission from Mitt Romney's campaign to do this. We were all set up, and I called the other folks up on that. I said, we need to start with the picture. We're all 8 of us standing in line saying, I'm number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, with our t-shirts, and we'll stand on a mountain somewhere or something and be proud of our number. 3 of them agreed. The others didn't. I remember the one that represented the others. I mean, they were not connected in any way. All good men, had never done anything wrong. All had good reputations. But I remember the one phone call, and I told him my idea, and he said, not a chance in the world. I've just experienced the worst week of my entire life. I'm embarrassed. My family is embarrassed. We are suffering so much persecution on us and our business. Don't you ever call me again. And the other 3 men, similar. Not the same, but similar phone calls. And so we couldn't do our 8, I didn't get to carry that off. I was a big disappointment. But I learned so much from the experience. And I learned that when you see, these people are still suffering because they didn't stand up. They're still suffering. They didn't experience the moral support that I felt, the vindication that I felt, the exuberance that I felt for having stood up and taken, do I still get persecuted? Sure. But there's another side. And that people got your back. But you got to stand up or that'll never happen. That'll never happen unless you don't stand up. Unless you do stand up. So we've been flourishing here as a company ever since. And I want to tell you a little bit about that. First, I want to say this. America is the greatest nation on this planet. We still are. We still are. I've traveled the world. I've seen other countries. I don't know how many countries I've been in. I haven't really counted, but dozens and dozens. Nothing compares to what we have here. America has prepared the way, a great experiment in democracy. Free enterprise. Free enterprise is what created the prosperity for America and Americans. Millions of great stories. Mine is only one of millions. I'll share a little bit of that with you right now. I grew up in a small farm in northern Idaho. Some of you probably don't even know where Idaho is. Is anybody from Idaho? You are? Where are you from? Where? Meridian. All right. Well, you've heard of Melaleuca then there. All right. Where are you from? In Coeur d'Alene. I grew up 30 miles north of Coeur d'Alene. So in a little place called Coquilala. My dad worked on the railroad, the Northern Pacific Railroad. He left Monday morning and came home Friday night. I had one brother and 2 sisters. And when I was 8 years old, my father said, and there's only 2 bedrooms in the house. And my mom and dad had one, and all of us kids shared the other one. And he said, we should have the girls in a separate bedroom than the boys. So he took a chainsaw and went into his bedroom and cut a hole in the ceiling and put a ladder up to it and said, you boys sleep up there. Later, he got real fancy and got a little bigger hole and put a ladder that folded up. And that was my bedroom. And when I was 16, my older brother left home, and I was when I was 12, he was 16. I was 12 years old, and my brother left. And so the farm, because my dad was gone all week, fell on my shoulders, my job to take care of the farm. And my mom cooked on a wood stove. We didn't have any money. And we heated our home with wood. My job was milk the cows every night and every morning, never missed once from the time I was 12 to the time I was 18 years old. My father helped sometimes on the weekends. My mom wasn't quite enough to go around, and she spent a lot of time. We'd go to town and she'd go to the back of the Safeway dumpster. I said, where we went to town, I would know where I would find my mother, in the Safeway dumpster, picking out food, day-old donuts, bread, bananas, peaches, still good stuff. You just got to have a hole in it when you eat it. So my dad told me to save my money because he'd only had a 3rd grade education. He thought I should try to go to college. So I did. I saved my money. By the time I was old enough when I was 18, I had enough saved up. I milked the cow and I could keep the cream. That's what he said. You could separate the milk from the cream, and I could keep it away from my older brother. It was a good part when he left home. Then I could still keep he used to chug-a-lug my cream, and I would take the cream to the creamery and get some money, $2.50 for, it was basically $1 a gallon for cream. By the time I was ready to go to college, I had enough saved up from that and some odd jobs that I worked on neighboring ranches for 5 semesters of school. I didn't have anything for board and room. My dad said never go into debt, so I didn't. But I got a job in a laundromat, and the guy let me sleep in a closet behind the dryers. So I had a free place to sleep, and they gave me $50 a month to wash the dryers, or the washers and dryers, and mop the floor. And my bathroom was the public bathroom. Then I had to get up before everybody showed up and take sponge baths and so forth. Anyway, so that's how I started my college career. And later I did a lot of other odd jobs. Worked on the railroad, the steel gang, most just manual labor, minimum wage. Got myself through school, no debt, degree in business administration from Brigham Young University. Got a good job at a Fortune 500 company. Successful, climbed the corporate, worked with them for 10 years. Became a vice president with them, went with Cox Communications after that, another Fortune 500 company. Vice president with them also, then started my own business, Melaleuca, in September of 1985. But I'll back up just a little bit. When I was going to college, taking business administration, one of my favorite professors said this. He said, you should, consider business as a career. And the epitome is to own your own business. He said the best kind of business would be consumer goods. Consumer goods. That's the stuff, stuff you wash your clothes with, shampoo, conditioners, hand soap, nutrition products, anything that's used up every month. And the way that'd be a good reason that'd be a good business is because people come back next month. If you're selling automobiles, you sell somebody a car, he's going to have it for 5 or 6 years maybe before he buys another car. But if it's consumer goods, it's every month. And then he got all our hopes up, and then he said, but it's too late. It's too late because there's nobody broken into that industry for the last 50 years. Now, that was year 1970. And it's true. Procter & Gamble, Lever Brothers, Johnson & Johnson, Colgate, all been around now much longer than 100 years. And they all sell, of course, in grocery stores. Walmart had, at the time, or even today, 60% of all consumer goods sold through Walmart. 60%. So they have a corner on the market. All your grocery store chains, corner on the market. Same companies, Procter & Gamble, Lever Brothers, Johnson & Johnson, Colgate, those guys, Clorox. Their model, though. So when I had enough experience with business and I was a VP, had been successful in the corporate ladder and all that, I thought, it'd be great if I was being able to be a part of my own business. I'm shortening this story a lot. A lot happened between there, then, and this point, so I'm shortening this story a lot. But the idea was, what if consumer goods? What if? You can't get shelf on grocery stores because they're taken. They won't. You go, I got this great product. Let's say I had a great shampoo. This is the greatest shampoo since. No one's going to believe me that I got a great shampoo. But so what would I know about shampoo? But let's say I did, and you're not going to get shelf space. Not going to happen. The system is all set up. You're excluded. Do you know of any new outfit that's got broken in consumer goods in your lifetime? Hasn't happened. There are a few natural companies that have tried. They all got bought out by the big guys. I'll give you a little list. Burt's Bees, bought by Clorox. 7th Generation, bought by Unilever. Tom's of Maine, bought by Colgate. Method, bought by SC Johnson. Native, bought by P&G. Procter & Gamble. So if they get any traction, they get bought out. But I'm thinking, what if we did it different? What if we didn't try to get grocery store shelves? What if we did it different? What if we sold directly from the factory? We didn't use the grocery store. We sold right from we bypassed those middlemen. What if we saved money and didn't advertise on TV? What if we depended on our own customers to spread the good word. What if we did it through word of mouth, which who believes television anymore anyway? Because you just hit mute, right? And what if we sold, see this, the model of the consumer good companies is a price-based model. You know, especially the folks with Walmart that have the biggest market share. They go to the manufacturer and say, you want to get on our shelf? You got to sell it cheaper. I know some folks, I've got a couple friends that got some products on Walmart, not consumer goods, but other kinds of products that they finally said, Walmart's going to, well, guess what? Walmart's going to carry our product. Well, but we don't know whether to cry or to celebrate, because the price that they made us give it to them on is less than what it costs us to make it. The only way we make a profit is if we reduce the quality. We have to make it shorter, smaller, put a smaller engine in it, use cheaper ingredients. That's the only way we can get it on the shelf. And every manufacturer that manufactures and puts things on the shelf for Walmart is up against the same thing. The key to making a laundry detergent, just make a big bottle and fill it full of water. No, I'm serious. 90-some% water, every one of them. Tiny bit of ingredients and water. So we said, what if we made concentrated products, didn't ship the water? After all, we made this great discovery. Most people, believe it or not, most people have water at their home at the tap, and they can get it for free. You don't have to pay to ship it clear across the country. And you don't have to pay for the big bottle. What if we just said real concentrated, and you could add the water at home? So let's have a different model. And what if we compensated generously those folks, our own customers? What if we shared, rather than sharing the profits with, rich shareholders, in a public company? What if we said we just share the profits with our own customer base, the people, when you bring just generously, not a lot, but enough to make it worth their while. And we said, what if we did that? So we launched a new company in August 1985. We had a mission statement. Mission statement is to enhance the lives of those we touch by helping people reach their goals. Why that mission statement? So it wouldn't become a money deal. Enhance people's lives. And then we had a founding axiom: exceptional products at reasonable prices. What does that mean? Exceptional means beyond the norm. Jaw droppers meaning, whoa, nothing like it in the marketplace. That's the only way we're going to beat the system, is if we focus on quality rather than price. Give them quality, especially when you have wellness products. That's our forte. Products that keep people well, safer for your home, not dangerous, safe ingredients. We're into cleaning products. We have been since the first day. We've sold billions, I'm saying billions with a B, billions of dollars worth of, and billions of bottles. And if you go to the poison control centers, poisonings of our competitors' products are number one on the list. Poisonings of kids. They got in the cabinet, under the sink, they drank whatever was in there, and now you got a kid that's in danger. And there's some really dangerous stuff under your sink. I won't go into a lot of detail on that, but you can get the research and you can discover for yourself. Anyways, we said safe. So we've been in business now for 36 years, billions of bottles sold. We have product liability insurance. Our insurance company has never had to pay a single penny ever for any product. We've had lots of kids taste test our product. They usually don't ask for a second bottle, but nobody's gotten sick, not even for a single day. And so we became one of America's fastest growing companies. In 1990, that was a while ago, Inc. magazine listed us as the 37th fastest growing company in America. And our growth has been exponential ever since then. We export to 17 other countries. We export US made products to other countries. I want to veer off that topic for just a minute and talk about what's going on in this country. You know we're under siege. I don't have to tell you about that. You know. The United States is embracing socialism, or at least many of our citizens are. They're being told unbelievably. I mean, can they not see history? Can they not see what's happened? I've been in 4 different countries, communist, because I visited China 28 years ago. Before they endorsed and embraced capitalism, they now embrace capitalism, by the way. But 28 years ago, they didn't. I went and saw, so I've been to communist China, Russia, well, it was still under communist control and still is, Cuba, and to East Germany. Was to East Germany shortly after the wall fell, thanks to Mr. President Reagan, a Republican. Those people got their freedom. And even if you go there today, the remnants of what was happening in East Germany was there. They're still there. But this was shortly after the wall had come down, just a couple of months after the wall had come down. And you drive from West Germany into East Germany, you don't have to see no wall. You could feel it, the drabness, no color, the poverty that those people, it's just a wall. This was in Berlin. I mean, the same people, the same genetics. This is not a genetic thing. This was a system thing. And socialism, horribly damaging. I was in China, like I said, 28 years ago. We just watched with unbelievable eyes. We saw 2 ladies walking down the street, elderly ladies. They were supposed to be working. They had brooms, which was basically a handle, a stick with some straw tied to it. They were supposed to be, that was their broom. They're supposed to be sweeping. They were walking down the street, dragging their broom like this. Who could say they weren't sweeping? I know what sweeping is. You know what sweeping is. They were sweeping. And the spirits, the countenance of their face, horrible, depressed. Then China embraced capitalism. Still communistic, but they embraced capitalism. Last 20 years, now we sell almost $1 billion of our products into China every year. $900 and some odd million, almost $1 billion, we sell to China every year. I've been to China several times. Good people in China, really good people. They're flourishing. Why? Because of capitalism. China is overtaking the United States in power, in just economic power, because they embraced capitalism. And they're worried about it now. I just see they're coming out and speaking out, worried about what capitalism is doing because they may be losing control. But they embraced it, and now they've got millionaires, and the people are prospering. Look at any pictures of any city, Shanghai, Beijing, wherever, of 20 years ago versus today. Big skyscrapers, people are flourishing because they let them practice capitalism. And where's our country going? Where's our country going? Can we not learn? You see the same thing in Cuba. Progress stopped in Cuba back in the 1950s, 1960s, early 60s. I'm not sure what year it was. Horrible that our country, the institutions are teaching our children, but they're not teaching them truth. They're not teaching them history. They're not teaching them facts. And we have to stick up for this nation. If it weren't for the United States and the prosperity is a good thing. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. I don't know what they're thinking. But if it weren't for the prosperity of the United States, Hitler would have won. Hitler would have won. Our nation went across the sea to other countries to rescue them, to free them from Hitler, only because we had the resources we could do it, because our people were prospering, our nation was prospering, and America has stood up for freedom all over this world. And if there were no America, if there is no America, if America is not prosperous, who's going to defend the world against tyrants and tyranny? No, we are. Our country is the thing that's protecting this world from tyrants and dictators. So, and we have to protect our country. So America needs to continue to protect these countries, and we need to protect America. My company is only one of a program that we endorse free enterprise. That's what we are. We set people up in business. Little guys, we're champions of the little guy. Not the big guys, not the corporation, just the little guys. I understand there's going to be some education given on who we are and what we're doing. American-made products, 99% of all of our products that we produce are either made in the United States or Canada. 97% of everything we produce is U.S. 2% is in Canada. Canada's not a bad place. We do a little bit there, and the very few products that are not made in those two countries we're replacing. We have one product that's, you can boo me if you want to. One product, it's a wipe, the substrate we get from China, and we are switching over to that as fast as we can. We're making our own bottles. We're getting out, so American made through and through. We love America. We stand up for America. I know that we get hits. I got letters just this weekend. I got an email from a lady. How dare you? I spoke last week. I did a little dissertation about, please write. If you go to our website, you'll see there's a place that you can click on to email your senator or your U.S. representative to say, please stop these subsidies that are telling people not to go to work. I don't blame the people for not going to work. When you pay them more for not going to work than they would have made on their job, and then you tell them you'll take it away from them if they go to work, I don't blame them. I blame the guys that made the laws that did that. So please write your U.S. So we have it on our website, and we have a suggested letter you can send your senator. And so because of that, I got a letter this weekend saying, how dare you do that? How dare you? So I've had this dialogue with this lady. It's a little recreation for me to have this dialogue with this lady and say, please stay in this conversation because I know who's right. But this is what I also don't believe. I don't believe that those who disagree with us are our enemy. And I would, they're not. Yes, thank you. They're not. So the idea is, from the other side, if you have somebody who's arguing their side, they want to destroy the messenger. Why do they have to destroy the messenger? Whenever I see somebody that's trying to destroy the messenger, I realize that their argument has no merit. The only way they can stop is to destroy the guy who's arguing against them. They have no argument. Their argument loses. Common sense loses. History loses. I mean, you can't learn. I mean, history doesn't lose, but you lose sight of history and then you make stupid decisions. So we have the argument. Our side has the argument. We are right through and through. We need their votes, and we need to stay in the argument. Don't try to destroy them. My opinion, I've never tried to destroy the other guy. I argue with their message, and I lay it out there because I want their vote. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they have some common sense. We know that there are some people who just want power, and regardless of the argument, but we have a lot of good people who are following their line of argument. They just don't know what history really tells you. They don't really understand the argument for free enterprise. We have all of that. We need to be educated on it. We need to be able to present it to people. We need to persuade them because we need their votes. This is right. It's an even thing right now. We just need a few more and we can take this country back. So anyway, thank you for letting me come talk to you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me come talk to you today. I'm really proud of who we are as a country. I'm proud of my little company. We did $2 billion last year in revenue. It's been growing like crazy, and because of folks like you. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Come on, we need men like him that support our movement. This is the real deal. We need men like this. Thank God for, they've been fighting a long time. Tell Frank we love him. Thank you, Frank. I need everyone to be seated. And I want you to know that there's another little man that God has raised up. Please don't nobody leave yet. This man has started a movement that's twice the size of ours. He's all over the United States. Mr. Brad Barton is in the house. Come on, Brad Barton. Would y'all make him welcome right now? Come on. Put those hands together for Mr. Brad Barton. Woo!
How y'all doing today? I'm doing great. I think I went through that same place that Mr. Vandersloot was talking about a while ago, about where he said you can't get anybody to work. I mean, that's why I was late, Pastor Toto. Professor Toto. Yeah, not pastor today. Yeah, I went by Jack's in Chattanooga, took 20 minutes. Heck, I could have gone in. I mean, I asked the guy when I got up there, I said, is it Joe Biden? He just kind of shook his head and said, yep, we can't get nobody to work. I said, well, why should they? Like Mr. Vandersloot said, if you can make more sitting on your butt at the house. That's what they're planning to do, see? So anyway, that's right. So isn't this a beautiful place? I tell you what, I've been to Gunnersville quite a few times as my father-in-law pastored a church in Huntsville for 20 years up on Montesano. And so I've been to Gunnersville a lot. In fact, Toto and I have played golf here before. He probably don't tell you that, but if we did. Did you know Toto plays golf? Well, he don't really play. I mean, but we went. I feel like I'm in a pulpit or something, like you, the other pastor, sitting over there in one of them big chairs, man. Yeah, we was out here on this course out here that you saw when you drove up. This is a couple of years ago, and I was Toto got he ain't really played golf before, as you can probably tell, and I was trying to help him out, you know. Yeah, so I said, this is a tee. This is what you put in the ground to put your ball on there. And he said, well, I don't use those. I'm just going to use this ant bed right here. So he put that ball up on that big ant bed, and he went to tee off. And he swung back, and he killed about 1 million ants. All right, I mean, them ants was gone. And there was 2 little ants left. And one of them looked at the other one and said, if we don't get on that ball, we ain't gonna never get out of here. Friend, let me tell you something. If we don't get on the ball, we ain't never gonna get out of here. I want to tell you, and I'm going to be sharing this later this evening on our show, and you may not have time to watch it tonight because you got plenty of stuff going on right here, but you need to watch it in the next couple of days. I interviewed a lady named Kathy O'Brien. Kathy O'Brien spoke at our event at We the People Reunion in Kentucky a couple of weeks ago. How many of you were there at that event in Kentucky? Raise your hand. Just a few. Okay, great. Okay, great. Well, let me tell you something. Kathy, excuse me? Kathy was... she was a CIA mind control slave, basically. This is crazy stuff. This is hard to believe stuff. I'm fixing to share some stuff with you in the next few moments here that's going to shock you. And I was telling Micah that back there. I said, I'm going to shock some of these people. But It's all documented. She testified before Congress. The CIA has been running operations for years through the mainstream media, propaganda, all of these things. And I don't have time to get into all of it today, and I don't understand all of it. But I'll tell you this. Kathy was basically human trafficked. She was a sex slave, a prostitute, basically, and against her will. She was sold into this as a little child. Her father was a molester, a pedophile, and sold her into it. And I'm talking at the highest levels, White House, Pentagon, you name it. She was in charge of diplomatic relations. And it's a story, God, I got chills all over me. It's an unbelievable story about someone that overcame all this. And she lived to tell her story. But I read her book, Transformation of America. Now, I don't know if it's Transformation of America, but it says, at the top it says trance, Trance, and then in the middle it says Formation of America. See, look it up. You will be blown away just reading the reviews of it. And I said, I have got to get this book. I've met Kathy. I'm actually going to stay at a chalet tonight, brother, at Kathy's place. She lives near here now. She's about 65 years old. And she is, but she says in this testimony that she gave before Congress, and it was put away for interest of national security. That's the excuse to get anything out of the open that needs to be put forth. It's bull crap. We're not in church, are we? Okay, good, because I said my cuss word right there. I said my cuss word. All right, it looks like a church. I feel like I'm in a church. Okay, we got an altar and everything right here, brother Vaughn. Okay, but Kathy, in her book, she talked about major players involved, how she was sent to Noriega down in Nicaragua, and she was sent, she had to entertain King Fahd from Saudi Arabia, and she was used by Gerald Ford. Senator Byrd, who was head of the KKK, remember him? From West Virginia. And I'm not going to steal Kathy's whole story here, but the reason I'm telling you all this is I'm going to drop a name here that's going to bowl you over. All of these people have been involved with this New World Order for years on both sides. Now, again, I identify with the Republicans, but if I'm I guess if I got to choose one, I'll be them. But I'm a constitutional Christian conservative, okay? But I'm talking Dick Cheney, Gerald Ford, Patrick Leahy. I'm talking George Bush Jr., Obama, and even Ronald Reagan. That one crushed me. That one absolutely crushed me because he was always a hero of mine. But she talks about it in the book. The reason I'm telling you all this is to not get you down as I was when I first learned that. Okay? The reason I'm telling you this is to let you know where we are today and then tell you what we've got to do to get out of this mess. Okay? And so I'm glad two people got it over here. I'm going to start preaching to y'all. I'm going to come over and let y'all. I'm going to give you another chance here in a minute. Don't screw this one up. Okay. All right. Amen. Okay. You see, but she was told, she told me, and she told me this the other day on the phone. I talked to her for about an hour, and she spent probably 25, 30 years of her life or more in all of this mess. And I'm talking about, and she talked about the rows of, what's that called? It's a Masonic thing. She talked about the Jesuits, Rosicrucian, the Jesuits. And she talks about Reagan. She talks about all these different people. And some are worse than others, but basically they've all been selected. And she told me on the phone the other day, she said, but Brad, here's the thing. I was told even back in the 80s and the 90s, I had to go to Atlantic City, New Jersey for something, for a mission that they put me on. And they told me then, do not get near Donald Trump. He is not one of us. He is the enemy. He is not part of our cabal. Even back then, they were saying, get away from him. They knew it. And so that's a little bit of a bright glimmer of hope for you. Now, here's the thing. You know, I think we put our too much trust in Trump. Now, I believe God sent Trump. He was God's man. You can talk about his lifestyle. You can talk about, I don't care to talk about all that. It's irrelevant. When God chooses you had sins too. That rhymes, brother. That rhymes. When God chooses you had sins too. Okay, so I don't want to hear that mess. But let me tell you something. God chooses who he chooses. It's none of our business. And let me tell you something. God chose Donald Trump for this time. And I'm going to tell you something, another thing. We may, now I believe personally that things are going on behind the scenes and that we're going to see a return of Trump here real soon. And I've got a lot of information to make me believe that. However, regardless if Trump comes back or not, it's up to us, we the people. Trump is 75 years old or something like that. No offense, but I don't think he's going to be around too much longer. If you hadn't noticed, people tend to die when they get that old. All right? Now, if some of you in your 70s, I'm sorry. You'll probably be the one to make it 120. I mean, I'm sure of it. But here's what I do know. Regardless if we get Trump back in for 8 years, then what? See, it's up to us. And this has been a wake-up call more than I've ever seen in my life. I didn't even get involved. I was never involved with any of this until Obama came around. I want to share with you, and I got to move quick. You guys have clapped too much and taken too much of my time up. But I want to touch on two things real quick. I want to touch on two stories, one biblical and one that's not biblical, but is a true story as well. And the biblical story is the story of Esther, became Queen of Persia. And you all know the story, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it here. But basically, all the Jews were going to be exterminated. And the word got to Esther from Mordecai, her cousin, or something. They think it was her uncle maybe, but I'm not sure, uncle or cousin. Uncle? Okay, I thought there had been some, confusions. Yeah, for her family. And it's basically said, well, they were from Arkansas, right? I mean, we don't know for sure. Okay, I'm sorry. Forgive me, Arkansans, forgive me. I'm sorry. I could have said Alabama, but I didn't, see. I said Arkansas. Okay, now I got everybody mad at me. Okay, but see, and he said, you've got to go before the king and rescue us or we're all going to die. And she said, you can't do that. Now I'm giving you the Brad version. She said, you can't do that. If you show up before the king unannounced, uninvited, you get the death penalty. She said, I can't do that. I'm going to die. And he said, basically told her, you must do this. If you don't, salvation will come from somewhere else and God's people will be rescued, but you and your family will die, perish. Don't think you're going to be let off the hook because he's going to get you too eventually. And she said, if I perish, I perish. And I'm going to go do it. And she did it. And basically, the long story short, the Jews were saved. Haman, who was the deep state cabal of that time, if I can label him that, he and his 10 sons were hanged at the gallows. See? So God has a way of turning things around when we are obedient. When we are obedient. And obedience is an act. It's not thinking about it. Yeah, well, I agree with you. And what you doing? Because obedience takes action, brother. I want to end with this. There was a man in 1519. Sorry, I needed some tea. There was a man in 1519 named Hernando Cortez. Anyone ever heard of him? Yeah. I taught history for a lot of years when I was teaching school. And Cortez was a conqueror. Now, conquer means he went and took other people's stuff. Now, in today's times, we might go, that's not a very nice thing to do, you know. But back then, it was just like a profession, you know. Kind of like, you know, you're going to be a dentist, you're going to be a baker, be a conqueror, be a, you know, I mean, kids went to class for it, and they had classes on it and everything, you know. I guess he was a conqueror. And he wanted the Aztec treasure in the Yucatan Peninsula. And no one had been able to take it for 600 years. I mean, it was a treasure of gold and silver and jewels and artifacts, and it was the greatest treasure in the world. And he wanted to go take it, but nobody could take it. And he thought, well, and let me tell you something, Cortez was a wealthy man to start with. I think he looked at it as a challenge more than anything. All right? He didn't need the money, but he said, I'm going to go take it. And everyone had known about this treasure because many, many armies had tried to take it and failed. So it was known all over the world. And Cortez set out from Spain with 500 soldiers, 100 sailors, 16 horses. I don't know what they have to do with it, but he brought 16 horses on the boats too. And he did all this on 11 ships. He set sail. And he talked to the, here's what he did, brother. He talked to the people and he got them excited about the treasure. See, because Cortez knew that he needed an army whose level of commitment was far beyond that of what ordinary people would consider commitment. So he started talking to them, and he told them how life was going to be when they got the treasure and when they got their hands on it, and what life was going to be like for their kids growing up now after they got the treasure, and how it was going to change their generations, their family for generations and generations. And I mean, he really juiced them up, you know, good. He got them stirred up. I mean, got them ready to go. And they all said they was all ready to charge hell with a water pistol with gasoline drawers on, brother. You know what I'm saying? They are ready to go. Concentrated. Okay. All right. So here's what he said. Well, Cortez found he kind of found out he had a little problem about halfway across the ocean, because a lot of these men that were so gung-ho, let's do it, you know, well, they kind of had second thoughts, you know, and they had been so fired up. And now they were like, Mr. Cortez, I don't know if it's really God's will that I'm supposed to be here now. And, well, I don't know if I should have signed up for this. And, you know how them people are? Yeah. Well, he had a lot of those. So here's what he did. He knew he had a problem. So when he got to the shores of the Yucatan Peninsula, they didn't do what people normally do, which was just go in there and fight. He kept them on the beaches there for about 2 weeks. And he again told them stories about how it was going to be so great when they got the treasure. Oh man, it's going to be unbelievable. I mean, the gold and the silver. I almost said the myrrh. Isn't that out of the Bible? Yeah, that's frankincense. Yeah, anyway. But anyway, the gold and the silver and the jewels. I mean, it's going to be unbelievable. And I mean, he got them all juiced up again. He got them all excited. And this went on for about 2 weeks. And finally, they knew, they had a feeling this last little pep rally was going to be it. And it was going to be time to go do the deal. And he gathered them all on the beach. And they just knew this was going to be the final talk, where he says, all right, now when the arrows start flying, you go here and you go there, and we'll meet over here at this coconut stump and, whatever, and we're out of here, right? Well, he said 3 words that changed history. He leaned into them and he said, burn the ships. And they said, excuse me? What did you just say? He said, burn the ships. Burn them. All 11 of them, burn them. He said, men, if we go home, we're going to go home to our families in their ships. And you know what happened? They won. They took the treasure. Why? They had no other choice. Do you understand this? It was either take the treasure or die. Take the treasure, die. Yeah, I guess I'll take the treasure. I mean, it ain't real. I mean, and they did. You see, they went home in their boats. They won. And you know what? What ships are in our hearts and minds today? What's in our lives that we need to burn so that we can answer the call that America, that Lady Liberty is asking of us today? Let me tell you something. Most people are scared to burn their ships for one reason. And Mr. Vandersloot, you will know this reason very well because you are the owner of Melaleuca. I've been in network marketing for the last 15 years. That's what I do for a living. I hadn't worked in a long time because it's residual. But you will know this excuse more than anyone in here. The reason most people will not burn their ships is they are afraid of what would you say, brother? What other people think. They are so afraid of what other people are going to think about them that they can't make the decision. They're cowards. We have a nation full of them. God's looking for warriors right now. God's looking for warriors right now. God's looking for men and women that he's saying, maybe you were born for such a time as this. Maybe you were born, but you say, but Brad, I've got a family, but Brad, I've got a big home. I might lose my home, but Brad, I got to have this job, but Brad, I can't do it. But Brad, and you know what God's saying? Guess what? It's going to come from somewhere else, but you and your people will perish. It's time to step up. Do you understand me? It's time to step up. Give me liberty or give me death. You understand? Who's willing to put it on the line? Who's willing to say, I'm the one? Who's willing to say, sign me up? God bless you. We love you. Back to you, Pastor Toto. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He's
of his everlasting sword, his truth is marching on. Would you sing it, Patriots? Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory. Come on, all across the audience, sing glory. Hallelujah, His truth is marching on. Everybody sing it. Hallelujah, glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. If this is to see at 7 o'clock tonight, I'll talk about Pat's tomorrow. God bless you. Amen. We love you. Sing it. Glory, glory. Hallelujah. Glory. Go to the next class. All over the field. All more to be said about them. This truth is marching on. Oh, he set me free. He set me free. He broke the bonds of prison for me. I'm only bound by Jesus to Savior. Glory to God. He set me free. He set me free. He set me free. He broke the bonds of prison for me. I'm only bound by Jesus to Savior. Glory to God, He set me free. Goodbye to sin. Things that were found, God was rich, turned me around. Then He got working. I'm praying to Him. Glory to God, hallelujah. He set me free. He set me free. He broke the bonds of prison for me. I'm glory bound by Jesus to Savior. Glory to God, He set me free. Well, once I was in prison, I dwelt. No freedom from my sorrow I felt. But Jesus came and listened to me. Glory to God, He set me free. He set me free. He set me free. He brought the bonds of prison for me. I'm glory bound by Jesus to Savior. Glory to God, He set me free. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Glory to God. Woo! Hallelujah. Now I am climbing higher each day. Darkness somehow has glory to God. I'm homeward bound. He set me free. He set me free. He broke the bonds of prison for me. I'm going out, Jesus. Going out. Somebody get some lunch today.
All right, everybody, that's it. Looks like that's going to be another of our program today. Let's see if I don't know if I can swing this thing here around on me or not. We're going to check it out and see. Anybody? We are bringing it all the way. Oh, there we are right here. See that man in that red shirt right there? That's me. Hallelujah. Let's see if I can bring. Oh, I can bring it around a little more here. There's Rachel. We're looking at that camera right there. All right, everybody. God bless. Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Being with us today. All right. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Hey, listen here. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. You're going to have to come back. I know 7 o'clock tonight. We got a program here, the Feast of Tabernacles worship service. It's going to be right here. Look at here. It's going to be my favorite friend right here. Right there, my buddy right there. It's going to be right here with us tonight. Professor Toto, he'll be right here with us tonight. Going to be ministering. It's going to be good. We're going to have a time of worship here, so I want everybody to tune in, be part of what we're doing here tonight on WUCC 99.9 FM, Frog News Network. We're going to get out of here. God bless everybody. Again, 7 o'clock tonight. Make sure that you tune in to this very special event. All right, we're going to hear your Kingdom News. This is the place for your spiritual media network. All right, God bless.